So, young man, where have you been all my life? Yeah, have you? Yeah. How many years? So, that's a great statement. What branch? Uh-huh. Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. It's interesting. Mhm. With basketball, football. Okay. You can't see my feet, can you?
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Walker's Brothers podcast. I'm TJ Walker,
I'm Jay Kelly.
and we've got a special introduction today for our first episode on our podcast. Walker Brothers podcast is here in order to promote positivity, uplift, and inspiration for the masses. And today we've got a special guest. We've got a really, really special guest, really true and dear to my heart, Jay, because a lot of people get it and they say, hey, y'all's granddad,
Yeah.
are you Reverend Walker's granddad? They ask us that all the time. Well, today We've got the man, the legend, the icon, the pioneer, the trailblazer, what many call the Dr. King of the East, the Reverend Dr. Thomas L. Walker. My grandfather is here with us today, our first special guest, and it was only fitting to have you with us, Dr. Walker.
Well, I'm happy. I'm honored by those accolades, and I am honored to be a part of hopefully a lasting legacy for this area.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, very quickly, and we say quickly, but you don't have to do it quickly.
Okay.
Who is, I'm going to leave the doctor, the reverend out. Who is Thomas L. Walker? I know who my papa is, but for those that are listening, because a lot of people, when you ask about Dr. Thomas Walker or you bring up your name in a room, people, they begin to go down a list of what you've done. And, I remember when I called him and he did this. I remember when he did this. So everybody has a different memory of Dr. Thomas L. Walker. But from your perspective, who is Thomas L. Walker?
Well, there's a song that the Williams brothers sing. It says, "I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody
Yes, sir.
who can save anybody." And really, I sort of feel the least of these. I am honored to have the legacy and the name that I have, and it has been because of conviction that the Lord has given me. I wasn't a prophet, nor a prophet's son, but the Lord called me to the ministry, and He provided the vision and all that was necessary, and it seemed like He just put everything in place that need to be, because my ambition has been to serve people.
Yeah.
And as I live, he helps me to define that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So like TJ said, you a living legend, and I remember growing up, I always told him if it was 3 people in Rocky Mount that knew my name, I felt I was successful. That was you, Thomas L. Walker, Red McCarter, Luther Barnes. And I said all 3 knew my name, so I think life's okay for me.
Yeah.
But I know you said you've been preaching over 50 years.
Yes.
So what's one of the things that has kept you motivated and inspired you to just keep going and still going to this day?
Well, really, Jay, people like yourself, of course, I must say my grandson, his involvement, his vision. But young people, by and large, keep me motivated. I am quite surprised at some of the things that has happened, far more than I ever thought it would be. There's a song that a lot of people know me by Mr. One Day at a Time, which is a song that talks about, well, it's a song that I've sung down through my career, but the longer I live, the songs sort of shifts.
Yes, sir.
It's still one day at a time. You got to do that. But song now more is great is thy faithfulness. The faithfulness is God. And there's a verse that says, all that I needed, thy hands has provided.
Sure.
So it's been like being guided by the mighty hand of God.
Sure.
And it's pretty hard for me to explain or enlarge upon myself, and even in achievements that I've made, because the Lord has given me the desire, but then I found out if you move on the desire the Lord give you, then He makes the way.
Yes, sir.
And that's where a lot of people never are used by God. I remember I used to talk to you, Kelly,
Yes, sir.
about running for city council.
Yes, sir.
And of course, you managed to find every reason not to.
Yes, sir.
But my whole thing was desire,
Yes, sir.
and God would give you, the vision.
Yes, sir.
With TJ, it's been just directing a moving object. It's always said it's easier to direct a moving object. TJ has been vision impact. He would have dreams and vision and ambition that
Yes, sir.
kept his father and myself and especially his grandmama. He said, what TJ gonna think of next?
Yes, sir.
And we thought that was superficial, but we found out it would be very, very true.
Yes, sir.
And to that point, a lot of people always ask me, as well as Jay, what is it that got you where you are? What made you do some of the things you do? And I always tell people, my grandfather, both of my grandfathers and my parents, but in particular, Dr. Thomas L. Walker, my papa, because there were so many lessons that you instilled in us as grandkids about work ethic and making sure that you work hard and you earn what it is that you want, and you go after with resilience.
Yeah.
And there was a lot that I just learned from you growing up that as I'm older, I look back and I can see, like, man, my granddad did that, or he did this and he did that. And just watching you. So how important is that for grandparents and parents as they can be the model for their children and their grandchildren? How important is that for grandparents and people that are listening today, for them to really grasp and understand how their children and grandchildren can be impacted by it?
Well, that's extremely important. We need to study our children. Even the least little things they do, we need to study that, whether it's good or bad. If for instance, your child is very aggressive in the area of mischievousness, you don't want to write them off. You want to see how you can redirect that into some positive energy. And certainly if that child is very energetic towards good things, which sometimes is a little rare, but we have to study our children even when they are very young. See how they interact with each other. See how they interact with people outside the family. See what their values are, and try to teach them values. And fortunately, we had that kind of relationship where we could study each other. It seemed like our family was the right size, and that it worked out.
Yes, sir. It wasn't too big, wasn't too small.
Yeah.
Yeah. You taught me how to fish.
Yeah.
Never forget that. Sent me to
Right.
my first basketball camp.
Right.
That's why I'm a Duke basketball fan today, Jay.
Yeah.
So
Jay's a
Walker's the
Carolina
reason?
fan, but this is the reason why I'm a Duke fan.
Okay.
So he sent you to your first Duke camp. Huh?
Sent me to my first Duke camp, man. Over 20 years ago. $500 camp
And
Yeah.
he sent you that
every year.
every year.
Every year. So I'm
And
a Duke fan to this day.
I really wanted to invest in my my grandchildren. I had some ambitions for my son, and in the line of basketball, and so I sent him, to camp too. But when TJ came along, we really, I was very, very touched by his basketball skill, and of course he was kind of limited in a sense. We started out in the county schools,
Definitely.
They didn't have anything but basketball.
Yeah.
But as he grew, that broadened.
So we ain't gonna hold that against you that you made him a Duke fan.
No,
We ain't gonna hold that against him. But
I was reaching for Carolina. Dean Smith kind of stepped off the scene, and so we kept moving.
yeah, like you said, Dean Smith retired, so you had to kind of pivot and go up to Duke, and that's okay. He a Duke fan. We ain't gonna hold it against him. But
Yeah,
I know, like you said, I know the age I am now. I always been the type that study greatness, study people that left a mark and effective leaders.
right.
And you've been that. So what's some things that just, like you said, this, I know you said like the youth has motivated you. As far as, what was the keys to getting you outside of Ebenezer to be effective? Like I know, I just remember I went to a plate sale one day and the old lady, she was like, you know, Reverend Walker been around a long time. And she's like, I remember one time we had a landlord come and he was like, we didn't go to this church. We called him at 12:30 at night. So he showed up and he was ready to put his shoes on and march. And you don't really see that much. People get outside of the walls of their church and really take over not only the community, but you was effective all over the city, all over Nashville and Edgecombe County. So what was those things going in that made you just...
Well, it's just the love of people.
Yes, sir.
I looked at our people, and I knew that we were much lower on the scale of life than we should be. And I started examining that, and I started looking into the powers there be. One of the places I looked, my grandson and yourself serve now, and it amazes me. I used to attend the Rocky Mount City Council, and I saw it was very hostile environment, unwilling to allow any new ideas, and so the politics of that, the late George Dudley was on city council, and that concerned me because George was a great man. He had a lot of attributes of Martin Luther King, but what happened was the election system was set up where we could not get anybody on the city council with George to help him out. We found out that it was designed that way. It was a large system that voted on you from your particular ward. And we thought to change that. Reverend J. O'Thorne and myself thought to change that. And we found out that the better way to bring about a change would be through the county as opposed to the city, because that was a sort of fixed politics. And so we gravitated to the county, realizing that we could get somebody elected better that way. So I always have believed in a team, not just run. A lot of people would get excited about winning themselves, but I wanted to have a impact that if we got somebody up there, we get somebody to help us.
Sure.
We don't want to just have Thomas Walker elected.
Yes, sir.
We tried that first, and that was constant battle.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that was real battle.
Yes, sir.
And then I got Reverend Thorne to run with us, and he would vote with us. And so we just gradually kept right on. and to ultimately, I hope we change the whole environment
Sure.
of politics.
Sure.
Yes, sir. That's interesting to know. You know that you saw an opportunity, an opportunity to help others, and
Yeah.
you went full throttle. Um, let's take a trip down memory lane. 1970, God calls you into the ministry, or to not into the ministry, but to Ebenezer Baptist Church.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe 10 years later, you find yourself pastoring this church as a young man. I believe you were 20 or 21, somewhere around that age when you started pastoring Ebenezer.
Mm-hmm.
And it may have been 22.
No,
22 you?
actually 21.
21?
Mm-hmm.
21 when you started pastoring. And 10 years later or so after you finished pastoring, early 80s, the Lord allows you to build this mega church
Mm-hmm.
in the city of Rocky Mount.
Mm-hmm.
To somebody that's listening out there today, that's visionary, that wants to accomplish something, that has a vision they want to see forth, what do you tell them, and sort of what was going through your mind, and what was something that just kept you going to make sure you achieved and reached that goal you wanted to reach?
Well, first of all, I have to confess that as I look back over my life and my achievement, I am as amazed as those who are looking on.
Wow.
And I think that that's important. You can't get it stuck on your shoulders and caught up in ego.
Mm.
Uh, when we built our church, and we went into church in 1980, God led me to erect a sign that said it took a miracle, because it did take a miracle. I want one day to write a book about how this happened, but so many books have been written, and I saw that I needed to address epidemic that was and still is destroying black men. So I took that on as a project, prostate cancer. But my one of the things that happened, my life has been full of miracles.
Mm.
I mean, literally. Let's say you mentioned the Ebenezer Baptist Church, and by the way, I tell anybody who have ambitions, they must have a strong life of prayer, because I can't tell you that I was able to call off what happened in my life and sequences. Uh, Desire, as I told you, is very, very important. God respects righteous desires, and I did not write that book, so I won't get into the weeds with it now. But the congregation of Ebenezer was born in 1916 when a few saints out of Mount Zion Church was sent to Ebenezer area to start a church. Out of that small fellowship hall that we have came. There's a long story there, but when we got to a point where we considered building, we had no land. There's been, unfortunately, there was some efforts. The man who owned a lot of property around there was determined to expand his shopping center, and I was led to expand the church, and so we were able to ascertain some land, get some land, and then when it came to building a church, I went to various contractors. I always have had a unique way of doing things. I had purpose in my mind that we'll build a church, but we're going to pay for it as we go. And that's a proposal that I carried into these contractors. And most of them, and they asked me how much money I had, and I told them none. And so most of them ran me out of the office. But here again, it's got to be, your plans got to be in sequence with God's plan. Little did I know that the prayer that I was praying that God would help me one day lead Ebenezer congregation into a building program. Little did I know that he was laying upon the heart of Mr. Mike Bonhill to build churches. He felt if I can build churches on that main strip, that would help build one. That one will attract another, and it happened that way. I mean, he had a plan. I had a plan, but most of all, God had a plan.
Awesome.
And so, in his mind, he saw Ebenezer as an opportunity to build a church that people from all over Eastern North Carolina come and look at. And that's what they did. But in order to do that, him being a Christian, he built a church, and I never had to go to the bank until the church was almost completed. He could buy into that pay-as-you-go thing.
Yes, sir.
He just believed that that was a good vision, and so as we built it stage by stage, we would pay money and we would raise money, but Miss Bonhill was very patient with us, and we really did not have to go to the bank until we got ready to put the roof on the church. If I had to do it again, I don't know if I would do it that way. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of pulling people along. But it was such a miracle that I say to people today, he did it once, he'll do it again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. That was something profound in that was God respects righteous desires. That was
right.
very profound. I hope
Yeah.
everybody listening was caught on to that.
Yeah.
I definitely held on to
That
that
was pretty. Yeah, that
Yeah.
caught me.
Yes, sir.
Especially about being righteous.
Oh yeah, he will give you the desires of your heart, and we just took the word of God literally, and that's how we did it.
Yes, sir.
So when you sound, now you said you over 50 years preaching. You've been very effective. You just a legend. So what do you think is next for Tom Izell? What you want to see next for Ebenezer, for Tom Izell? What you want to see next, like to lead
Well,
you?
I don't even really know. God, as I said, that the song now is great is our faithfulness. All that we needed, the Lord has provided. More recently, we discovered that we had this huge building, but as it was built, the classroom was built upstairs. And so we need some way to get to it. And so my latest project has been an elevator project. And that is coming to pass. So we keep encouraging people, to go from one step to another. So we have the elevator, and then as we build the elevator, then we God just laid to His glory, laid upon my heart to have a memorial hall to the elevator, which would be an opportunity for people to display various pictures and have medals of how we got there. Because I believe one thing we have not done as a people is to reserve our history. And in our elevator, we have Memorial Hall. You go in there, you're going to see dedications of people, and then as you move on up, you'll be able to see how we did what we're doing. But here again, to show you how amazing that is, Mike Von Hill built a church. When we got ready to build the elevator, his son consented to build the elevator, and he had his style. I would have thought the elevator would have been on the front of the church, but he had a vision for it to be on the side of the church or rear kind of. And so the elevator is going on and has taken on a life of itself.
Sure.
And it comes in a good time because we're aging church now. You see, when I first got there, I ran up and down the stairs. But as time went on, people age, and so elevator come in good, and it's good for our young people. So we're excited about the history of the church.
Yes, sir. Like Jay said, you talk about next. I know some things you got hot right now. You've a lifelong dream of yours to have your own radio station.
Oh, yeah.
You've got WCPS radio for everybody who's listening.
Yeah.
And also, most recently, you have the bridge that connects Edgecombe and Nash County, Raleigh Boulevard, what was traditionally known as Raleigh Road. Now is Raleigh Boulevard. It also connects 97, Highway 97. Bridge renaming the Reverend Thomas L. Walker Bridge. What's some of your just thoughts and feelings about that bridge and that achievement that for the city of Rocky Mount, it'll be the first African American male with a bridge renamed after him. And you're still alive and breathing and healthy and still able to see that and smell those flowers. So just, what are some feelings that you have? You're a very humble man, but what are some of those feelings? We know that's got to make you, deep down just smile and proud. But how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel great about it. In fact, there are a few things that happen that make us feel so personal and that is I've been called a lot of things in my life, good and bad, but the most endearing thing they call me is a bridge builder. I know that that's what you are when you contribute to society, and the bridge being named after me and the location. There are many bridges in Edgecombe, Nash County, but this one connects Edgecombe to Nash. And so I feel very honored by that. I feel I'm humbled. They're going to be erecting the sign for that soon. And it's a process. I want to thank Deacon Hopper. Well, first of all, I want to thank my grandson, TJ, but Deacon Hopper, who headed up the committee for it. And that has perpetuity to it. It'll be there when all of us are gone. So I am very, very thankful for that.
Yes, sir. Dr. Walker, our time has come. We've got listeners out that have been paying attention and dialed in. I know for myself, I won't speak for Jay. I'm sure he probably feels the same way. But this has been an honor just to sit at the feet of such an icon. wealth of wisdom, someone that is not only walking and has walked and talked the lifestyle that they say they would, but to be able to still hear and to hear you and to know all that you've accomplished and all that you had to endure and what it took to do it. That's just been, this has made my day. It's made my year. If I don't do anything else for the rest of the year, it's made my year.
So I know the same thing like TJ said, and I remember TJ was running and me and you was parked beside each other. You was walking across the street and you told me, you said, "Hey, Walker, your last name Walker." I said, "Don't you say you take pride in that." You said, "Not only because I'm Thomas L. Walker, but the name."
Yeah.
You said, "Leave something behind." And now I told TJ we was going up to see you. They was naming the Pruda Bridge, and every time I cross the bridge, I see your name. That mean a lot.
Yeah.
And you let me know I still got some more to do.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm chasing Thomas L. Walker.
Well, what you do, you lock yourself in on the desire to help people.
Yes, sir.
And if you have the desire, God will give opportunity.
Wow.
That's key.
Yes, sir.
And my life, even though it said legacy, it was not planned
Yes, sir.
because I wasn't a prophet and not a prophet's son. My father and mother separated
Yes, sir.
when I was only 6 years old, and there was a lot of challenges. But God saw fit
Yes, sir.
to take a man who wasn't a prophet, not a prophet's son, and do the things that he done in my life, and I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
As we'll always do when we have a special guest here, we ask our guests to leave just an inspirational message for our listeners and those that'll be listening not only today live, but people are going to be listening for days and years to come of the great Dr. Thomas L. Walker. What is your inspirational message for people that are listening right now?
Well, I love to, I do a lot of reading about quotes, and some of them really stick with me more than others. 'Cause obviously, the Bible is one, and but beyond the Bible, people like Abraham Lincoln, who says there's no limit to what you can do in life if you don't mind who get the credit. I like to grab a hold to true sayings and live them out. Of course, the Bible is full of that. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart. Lean not on your understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. So I give God the glory. I give God the honor. And I can truly say, sitting here today, I don't see a lid on my possibilities. There are some things that I really want to do, but I don't get anxious about them. I feel in God, because there's been so many things that God has done that surprised me. So I'm not anxious about tomorrow. I know tomorrow's in his hands.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, Jay, you got our word for the month for people.
TJ, I know we talked about 2 hours ago. I changed it now to, remember being in the Army, we had a Sergeant Major Army. We always tell us every time we left the fob, what's your legacy? So that's the word. Like, what's your legacy? That's really something like you wake up every day, and I do ask myself every night when I close my eyes to pray, God, if I left, what's my legacy? I pray that I left something back for somebody
Oh, yeah.
to pull from or look forward to going to. So what's your legacy?
Yeah.
That's it. And like TJ said, I just want to thank you for this moment. You are not only a legend, you're an icon. And
God bless you.
even when it's all said and done, you'll still live a long time. Your name will be around for a long time.
Yeah.
And I'm honored. I'm humbled for it. And just love on people while they're here. And I'm glad you could smell your flowers while you're here because you deserve it all. So I pray that God just continue to just let you see more more, and just more, and just give you everything that you deserve and more. So we just appreciate you, and it's an honor.
And I appreciate y'all because the reason that I can still have enthusiasm
Yes, sir.
is because I can see the fruits of it.
Yes, sir.
And thank you all for what you're doing.
Yes, sir.
Don't let nobody turn you around.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Thanks to Fonte Lyles and the Lyles Media Group, who's behind the mass media production of this podcast. For those that are listening, thank you guys for tuning in. This is our first segment of the Walker's Brother podcast. We'll have many, many, many more. Stay tuned. Sometimes you'll see a special guest. Sometimes you might just see me and Jay.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, make sure you tune in. We want to thank y'all for just tuning in, and we appreciate the love and support. Dr. Walker, thank you for being our guest.
Thank
It's
you.
been an honor and a privilege. Thank you again.
Thank you.